Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm joined by a guest that I'm sure you remember from before. He's an actor, producer, once was a principal. He wears many hats, but all of them cowboy. We've got Wild Bill Foster. How you doing, sir?
Hey, doing great. It's amazing you call me Wild Bill because that's what my name was in college, and I will not tell you why.
I think I'll get that out of you sometime.
Hey, there you go.
So this episode is a little bit different. It's going to be probably a shorter one, depending on how things go. But this is more of a flash news update kind of thing. We got some big news coming from Texas. Bill's going to tell us about it. But so first, we're going to start with something we talked about when you were on the first time, and that was Showdown at the Brazos. How is that working out?
It's going really well. We're going to wrap up filming this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Then and the only thing will be left to film is a possible, pickup shots that we may have missed or didn't get just right. But then the biggest news though is I got word this morning I've got to going to have to decide between a couple of companies on distribution. And so we've got a distribution deal on in the future. And so that's going to
Wow.
be really neat to get that out there where people can see it. Each one of them, have a little different medium that we've got to decide on how we want to do that. But I had to pull the truck over and do a little jig on the side of the road when I got that news.
I
So
bet, yeah.
yeah, big news there. I can't say who or what or anything like
Right.
that right now. It's just really too early. But yeah, we've got both of them said they would take it. It's just a matter of when they get the contract to me and we decide on which one we want to take.
That's
And of
magnificent.
course, we're going to turn it over to them to a full done. The movie's going to be completely done. It won't be one of these where they pay to help finish it or anything like that. We're going to have it completely done and give them a finished product and go from there. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so happy. Congratulations, sir. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very
That
much.
that's just I can't even fathom all the work that goes into it, and then when you get news like that, just the sheer reward of that has to be
Yes.
overwhelming. Oh.
Yes. Yeah. Overwhelming is a really good word. So
I mean, I guess it would have to be if you got out and did a jig on the side of the road.
yeah, yeah.
But
And they didn't institutionalize me after I did that either.
that's I'm super proud of that. I was really
Well,
pulling
thank
for you
you.
on that one. It sounded like a really good show and really good movie. So I hope that comes out amazing, and I'll be one of
Thank
the
you very
first ones
much.
to see it. But then I was approached later by a mutual friend of ours who said you had some other really good news. I mean, you just seem to be a man full of good news, and
Ah,
we talked about it a little bit before we started recording. So now we're gonna talk about it a little bit more and get it out there for the world to hear and the universe and all that. Because as a veteran myself, I love this idea. So I'm gonna let you take it away, and you can tell the people all about it.
okay. The movie is called "I've Got Your Six," which, if you're a veteran, you know exactly what that stands for. And the purpose of this movie, and let me back up just a little bit. It's going to be a short movie, a 25 minute movie. And the movie is really based and purpose is to let veterans know that they're not alone. A lot of times we get to feel like we're alone in our everyday life with whatever we're doing. And we just need to know we've got that support system. And that's basically what this movie is really going to stress is they've got a support system there that they can reach out at any time and get help if they need it. And so in that same sentence is if we any profits made from this movie, we will be donating those to veteran organizations that do help veterans. One of them we've already partnered with right now is Texas Veterans for Outdoors, and we're waiting for some feedback from a couple of others I've requested information from because I want the money to go to the veterans, not to administration or some desk
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. And so I want to make sure that percentage is high. I don't want it 50-50 or 60-40. I want it, 90% or above. Texas Veterans for Outdoors is 100%. So that's
Oh wow.
why I signed with them immediately. And what they do, they help the veterans transition to new jobs. And when they get out of the military, they help them train to do interviews, help them train to get go out there and know what kind of job they want to get. And so it helps them get back into civilization, as you might say. But the movie is, excuse me, there's a World War II veteran in the nursing home, and he sees the newspaper, and he sees where they're fixing to turn some worthless piece of land, as the newspaper called it, into a shopping center. But he quickly realizes that worthless piece of land used to be the farm he lived on for many, many years. And so he wants to see it one more time. So he slips out of the nursing home and goes out to see his land one final time. And a deputy that finds him sitting on the side of the road just looking down there. And the deputy happens to be a veteran also. So they hit it off really quick. And the veteran, the elderly man's like, you sit down right here. I want to tell you about this worthless piece of land. And one snippet of it is, you see that oak tree down there? That's where my wife and I got married. We spent 73 great years together. And so, that's kind of the way the whole premise of the whole setup is.
Okay.
And then there's some things that go on that, there's some contradiction and some back and forth between the deputy and so it calls out the local veterans that are in everyday life. They've transitioned into their daily jobs, and they start hearing this problem that's going on, and they start going behind it, all they have to support him. And they've got his six, and so it's just I think a really heart-stirring movie that will help them realize that there is somebody that's going to back them up whenever they need support.
That's great. That's just an amazing movie. I think that'll be an instant hit.
Well, thank you. If we can get it going viral on the YouTube or wherever, and raise some money for the veterans, and I think it's going to really help them out in those situations. Kind of extend that. Veterans Association does a pretty good job, but we could do better.
Right.
We can do a lot better for our veterans, and so that's what we're trying to do, is extend those organizations that's already out there. Let them just have some of this money that we make, whether it's $5 or $500. Hopefully it's more than that, but we'll see. And we've got to get some something set up so that way if somebody does want to donate, right now they can just message me, but we'll get something set up where they can donate money towards this project.
Gotcha. That's great. So what inspired you to do this project?
Well, believe it or not, I've had this story in my mind for years. And it just so happened that I met a guy that we've worked a bunch together over the last year. He was in my movie Showdown with Brazos. I was in no man's land with him and found out he was a veteran, and he's perfect for the deputy. And so when it kind of started falling together, that's when I said, I got to write the script. And so when he agreed to be the deputy, I went in, dropped what I was doing, and went in and wrote the script in one day. And now I've been refining it a lot, but one day I sat down and just wrote it all.
Jeez. That's what happens when you're inspired, right?
That's right. And, I was talking to him the other day, and he said in a matter of seconds he lost 25 friends in Iraq. So, that's where he's coming from. And, so he's going to really bring some good, not only just quality acting to it, but just that life experience of being a veteran and knowing that he's got the man's back, even though they served in different wars. Yeah.
And all these vets that you're going to have on the movie, they're all from that area? They're all from Texas?
No, well, most of them are from Texas. I've got some help coming from Orlando just to help out.
Okay.
That person, he's not a vet, but he's going to be the captain who's fighting with the veterans. And so, we want somebody that they wouldn't like. And so he's going to be the enemy. So,
right, yeah.
But, and he's not going to be on the camera, just his voice. And so we're still sticking to the true. Everybody in front of the camera be a veteran, but we've got a lot of them coming from Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana. We've got, a lot of bikers just coming in. We wanted a scene in the bar with some bikers and cowboys getting along, and the barmaid, she hears the argument going on over the scanner, so she makes them all be quiet, and then they all take off to go help the old man. And how this thing is spreading. One of the guys, he's got some local talent, speed dial from the Texas Red Dirt Road music series, and so he's going to have a live musician for us.
Oh,
and so we'll have him, and maybe he can play the theme music for the short movie. So it's really coming together fast.
I was just
my wife
about to
made me
say
a list
that.
of everything. And she started making me a list. I said, let's get through this weekend with Showdown first, and then we're going to jump, dive off in the deep end on I've Got Your Six, Monday morning. So
wow,
it's just really, really, I can't believe how fast it's taking off and doing tremendous, support right now.
Yeah. Well, that makes me proud, to see that people are willing to do something like that. And the fact that your proceeds are going to go to organizations that help vets out, that's great. Because I work at the VA as well as doing the podcasting thing, and so I see that the VA can only get so far. And I'm definitely not talking down about the VA or anything like that, but it can only go so
Sure.
far. We need other programs like, you know, I can't remember the name. The one,
Texas Veterans for Outdoors.
yeah, there's Texas Veteran Outdoors. Yeah, that was that one. Wounded Warrior Project. There we go.
Wounded,
Uh,
Wounded Warriors.
there's
Gary Sinise has a really good group, and then Foals of the Heroes.
right,
Those are three I've contacted that we really we're looking at trying to get some information back from them. So,
right,
and
it's
each one of them does something different.
yeah, and it's groups like that that help supplement the VA because it can only get so far. And with you doing something like this, really shows what kind of character you have and how upstanding you are.
Well, thank you.
So
Yeah, I appreciate your service too. I'm not a veteran. I came real close a time or two, but just always looked up to them. And I wrote a play back. We probably talked about the first meeting, Wendy's Home, about the Vietnam veterans. And if I'd gone to a different college, I was going to join the Corps, but I ended up getting a scholarship going to a different college.
mhm.
So I didn't join the Corps. But that's how close I came, twice. And I nearly joined the Marines, and then I nearly joined the Corps. So
Right.
just came right down to it, and it just the timing wasn't right, or part time of my life wasn't right, or whatever. So,
Mhm.
but I always look up to the veterans and the sacrifices y'all made, and people don't understand unless you really visit with them the sacrifices y'all do make. Just like the man that's going to play the deputy lost 25 friends in a matter of seconds.
Right.
So, and stories go on and on. I knew a veteran growing up that he was the last one out of his ship at Pearl Harbor. Nobody behind him made it. Everybody in front of him made it. Everybody behind him didn't make it.
Wow.
I can't fathom that. That's just not in our mindset that we can actually realize that actually happened.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's those kinds of sacrifices that I had uncles that were in the military and things like that, cousins, and I always looked up to them.
Well, everybody who joined the military, they all had different reasons. Everybody now and then
Mhm.
might have the same goal or aspiration or whatever, but we all joined for different reasons. And one thing that I think everybody can agree on, whether or not they really thought about it at the time, but I think everybody thinks about it later down the road, is we all joined to do something for our country.
Exactly. And that was going to be my purpose too when I joined, because when I was looking at it, it was 1980. There wasn't anything really going on, so there wasn't any hot spots or I'm going to fight in Iraq or Afghanistan or anything like that. It was just going to be doing something good for our country,
Mm-hmm.
and go from there. And like I said, timing just wasn't right. In Texas, you probably know exactly which college I'm talking about. I'll go ahead and throw them out there. Texas A&M. I'd planned on going down there, and right at the last minute, my senior year, that got changed. I went to a different college, but the whole plan was if I went to A&M, I was going to join the Corps. It's going to be right in there with them. But life throws a curveball every now and then. We just got to go with it how we went. So luckily, I met my wife at the college I chose, and so it all worked out well.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we all joined. The veterans, everybody who's a veteran joined. They served. We did what we could for our country, and we did what we could for the people of the country. And for someone like you to stand up and make a movie about it and really kind of show what's going on and that we're not alone and that there's always somebody behind you and somebody always has your six, whether you think it or not, is just so commendable. I give you
Thank you.
so much props for that. That's great.
Oh, thank you so much. And we'll get you an email when we get a way that people can donate. We'll figure out a way they can donate direct, and we'll get that to you, and then you can just advertise and let them know how they can donate money to the cause.
Absolutely. So we'll draw this up to a close here, but I would like to take these few minutes at the end, like I always do. If you want to get your name out there, tell people where to contact you, things like that, where to follow the different things you've got going on, your different projects, go ahead and let them know.
Okay, yes, you can follow me on Facebook under Bill Foster, and you recognize me real quick as a cowboy there in the picture. And I've got a Showdown on the Brazos page on IMDb and Facebook. You can keep up with our movie there. And I've also got an IMDb page. You want to keep up with what I'm doing in the movies. But Facebook is the best place for me that you can keep up with my post. I'll post, how the project's going. And we've also got our Showdown trailer on YouTube. So go down to Showdown of Brazos on YouTube, take a look at it, see what you think. Just recently won Best Trailer in a contest, and Screenplay has won something in Austin. I'm going down there next week to find out exactly what I won. So it's an exciting time.
That's perfect. Thank you so much again, Bill, for coming on, doing a little flash news update and letting people know what's going on. This is going to be a great project. I'm going to promote this far and wide. And we're going to get some more attention drawn to it. Sounds like it's already doing well enough on its own, but I'm definitely going to help any way I can.
Oh, man, I appreciate it very much. Like I said, I'll get back with you when I figure out a way that people can give directly without having to actually call and contact and all that kind of good stuff.
Absolutely.
We'll get it done and get it to the next few days. We'll get it to you.
Sounds like a fantastic opportunity for everybody. So thank you so much again, Bill. And thank you to all the listeners for tuning in and checking out our little update here. I hope that you keep an eye on this and watch where it's going. And your contributions not only help the veterans out, but it's going to help the project as a whole. You guys are going to be part of something bigger than yourselves. And if you've never had that experience of, maybe being a veteran or being part of emergency services or fire department or things of that nature, this is your chance to kind of experience, at least in some tiny degree, what it feels like to be part of this larger entity. And I tell you, there's no feeling greater. So thank you again, everyone, and we will see you later.